today. I am Miss J, and I'm super excited to get started on the third episode of our Shine Bright series. If this is your first time joining me, then of course I'm Miss J. Hello, I am coach, consultant, and business owner of the Illumin Group. And I work with people to basically help them in all areas of their lives attain new levels. One of the things that I wanted to do in this March, Women's History Month, is to bring to you some really tangible jewels from a book that I found over the Christmas holidays, and if I had an opportunity to read, and thought that it was just so practical and easy to consume, but full of power-packed tips, nuggets, how-tos, etc. And that is this book. It's called Shine, 20 Secrets to a Happier Life, and by The Essentialist. And I have decided that this fits really well with some of the things that I do, and was just looking forward to sharing, having an opportunity to share it with my audience so that I could have some additional content to help support the things that I like and love, which is aligning yourself to get ready to live the life that you've always dreamed of, whether that be career, relationship, family, etc. The only person who's going to make your dreams come true is you. And so working with my clients in the Illumin Group, we work on a myriad of topics because sometimes the goals that you're trying to achieve can be knocked off track if there are other parts of your life that aren't properly aligned. So we get into alignment so that we can get going to where we want to be. Now, with this Shine Bright series, I'm like, everyone is in the pursuit of happiness. I'm in the pursuit of happiness, and sometimes that means different things for me on different days. However, the core of it is just being content with what I want, what I'm doing, and where I am at the moment, because of course that won't, and where I am and all of those things will continue to change. Life is fluid. Life is a journey, and I get it. But I think that the tips in this book are kind of timeless. And you see, I've marked my little pages of things that I want to talk to you about today. I had to take off some of those orange tabs because there was way too many from the first 2 episodes that we were already went through, and those 8 topics that we've already covered. So for this next 4, I wanted to make sure that I brought to you some additional pearls of wisdom from the lady authors of this book, and they go by a combined name of The Essentialist. If you are looking forward, if you're looking for this book, go back to episode 1. There was a link on there, the YouTube posting with this book on Amazon, but of course you can just Google it. Shine, 20 Secrets to a Happy Life. So it is a 47 pages of power-packed things for those who are fans of self-improvement, which of course Miss J definitely is. So let's get right into it. I want this to be easy to digest and quick enough for you not to lose interest. So we're going to jump into the first tip for today, and that is going to be on journaling. Now, journaling for me is an interesting thing because I am a creative, and so writing down my ideas is something that I love to do. I meant to bring down the journal that I keep upstairs in my bedroom so that I could share with you what I do. But one of the techniques that I use, I'll talk about it in a minute because it basically goes with point number 1. This journaling allows your mind to process your thoughts at a deeper level. And if you are someone like me, you will understand that your mind is constantly working. And you have so many thoughts, ideas that come to you throughout the day, but if you don't write it down, and in my made-up word that I've been using for about 14 years, I actually got it from someone, a colleague. If you don't take it out of the air and put it on paper or make it concrete, the made-up word is concretize. That those thoughts, sometimes your most genius things can just dissipate. They come and they go that quickly. But if you take the opportunity to capture those thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, whatever you're going to end up journaling about, it allows you to process through things, allows your mind to process through the thoughts that you're having, and it allows you to work through your thoughts, to work through your feelings, the emotions, the situation in a manner that's deeper than just thinking, venting, and potentially just having a conversation. So this book that I wrote, book that I put a sticky tab on page 102 of this book, it says evidence and groundbreaking research on elite performance and ultra achievement has revealed that keeping a journal on a regular basis boosts mental focus, increases self-confidence, elevates mental attitude, and increases personal levels of happiness. Again, it allows you to clarify your thoughts and your feelings, especially if you're the type of writer that likes to write things in a more complete manner. You want it to be that. Now, I choose a writing style that's a little bit different. Like I said, I'll talk to you about that in a moment. But if you are in the process of trying to move to a different level, sometimes you have to work through the emotional things and baggage that may be holding you back a little bit. And so that may mean working through those thoughts that you've had consistently, whether they be the little ants that creep up, those automatic negative thoughts, or it might be, you have to reprogram your self-talk, which is what we talked about in mindset in a previous episode of Shine Bright. So go back and look at that. Benefits of regular journaling, and regular is however you choose to define it. It could be I write in it 2 times a week, 3 times a week. It could be daily. It could be on my stressed out days. I write things down multiple times a day. Whatever your definition of regular is what you want to be focused on. But benefits of regular journaling says it heals your mind and body because it is an emotional release. It allows you to get some of those feelings out, especially if you're someone who feels really deeply and passionately, but you don't always communicate it verbally. Writing might be a way for you to get some of that stuff out and to let that emotion flow down through your fingertips and through the pen or pencil. It also boosts your IQ as it expands your language and helps you improve the ability to express yourself. Once you get used to talking to yourself, it makes it easier for you to talk to others because you have the ability to bring those words forth more easily instead of worrying about how am I going to say this, is this the right thing to say, etc. And of course, it also provides you a written record of your wins, your improvements, the things that you've learned, the moments that you shared or enjoyed. So you want to just begin to write these things down because it's a way for you to review and potentially process or recover things. If you have a journal that you've written and you've written down your wins or your learnings, and then you go back 5 years later, 3 years later, whatever the case may be, and see how far you come, it will be such a boost. And you will also be able to see if you were able to move forward and make some progress toward the things that you were desiring at the time. So some people say, how do I journal? It sounds so formal. Sounds like there's a whole process to it. Well, I mean, journaling, only thing you need, if you like pencil and paper like me, is the only thing you need. I don't like pencil. I love pens, high quality pens. And paper, do that. Like I said, I have a journal upstairs. I'll probably just post a photo of my quick journal. And then if you have that, or if you're a writer, like a computer, you like to type, get you a document, potentially something that you can lock and secure, and just type it out. My style of writing is more what I call free writing, and it is basically bullet number 1, whatever comes to my mind. So I don't edit, I don't do any of those things. I just write. I don't worry about spell checking, punctuation, grammar. I just allow my mind to work and my hand to work together, and I just write. Now, if I'm trying to plan out something, but all of this stuff is just flowing out of me and I don't put any breaks on it because I'm not trying to edit it, when I'm ready to process that at a deeper level, I can go back, highlight, circle, organize those thoughts in a more in a manner that can allow me to work. But I like free writing because it doesn't make me feel like I need to be saying any specific thing. It just is freedom to write whatever comes to mind. It's like train of consciousness writing, or stream of thought writing, whatever you want to call it. Um, the other things, if you're trying to figure out how to start journaling just as a practice, is just write down some of the things that you learned, things that you observed, things that you have insight about today. It might be, oh, I did not know that my coworker Katie likes watermelon. I don't know. I just pulled that completely out of the air. Or that my coworker Brianna doesn't like chocolate like me. And so I know that, the next time I want to recognize her with something, I can give her this because I know she likes it. I know she likes lemonade, whatever the case may be. The other thing that you can start to start journaling is just where you are at this moment in life. So you can talk about your day, talk about, what happened at work. What do you like about it? What you didn't like about it? What's going on in your relationships? How are your kids doing? What did they do today that was new or something that was different? Just write down what's happening, like a diary, a Dear Diary type of thing. But then you'll see that once you get comfortable with the process of writing, you'll be able to replicate that. And then you might decide to narrow it down or to choose what types of things you're writing. Or you may be like me with piles of notebooks all over the place. For different things. And sometimes that can be my own personal barrier because I have notebooks everywhere and I have unused notebooks because I love to collect paper. So FYI, if you're thinking about a gift for Miss J, nice pens and a notebook, journal, binder, whatever the case, always works. One of the really cool things that I purchased in the last month or two is a a gadget. It's called a Rocketbook, and it has reusable pieces of paper, and I can scan my Rocketbook pages and it uploads to the computer. So if you're someone who likes to keep and store those things digitally, if you get something like a Rocketbook, you don't necessarily have to keep tons of notebooks, but you can keep everything that you document by just scanning the page and uploading it to the cloud. So that's a really neat gadget. I'll post a link to the Rocketbook as well. And Rocketbook uses nice pens. They use Fusion pens, so it makes it easier for that as well. But my tip for you on journaling is basically just to get started. It isn't something that you have to worry about sharing or using. It is, just your ability to get your thoughts out, to process in a different manner, and therefore it's freedom for you. It's not for anybody else. So if you want to go old school and buy something that locks, feel free. Or like I said, lock a digital document, or just put it in a place where people don't look. And feel free to just express yourself. Journaling can also, like I said, help you express gratitude. We're going to get to gratitude after this, but is a way to document what you're grateful for as you just move through your journey of life. Everything isn't always about striving. Sometimes it's about just sitting and enjoying. We're going to get to that in our next episode. All right, so the next topic for today is learning. And learning for me is all about growth, evolution, how you're flourishing in life. And I definitely proclaim myself as a knowledge seeker, a continuous learner. This is something that I'm just like, oh yeah, what can I do? I always set myself learning goals because I feel like there's so much information in the world that I need to get as much as I can easily digest. And sometimes it might be difficult to digest it, but I always want to learn. So I learn in different formats, and I think that as long as you're learning, and sometimes if you're actively learning, it does something different because you're like, oh, now I know this. Now I know how to. Or now I didn't know this, but now I know how to apply it. Now I can do things differently. And I think that the majority of my clientele are definitely learners. They're trying to figure out how to do things differently. They're trying to figure out how to move their careers, move their lives, move their families forward. And of course, what they've been doing probably hasn't been working as effectively as they need. So they need a coach who can give them information, resources in a more easily digestible manner. Because, of course, sometimes you can read 500 books, but then you still have to figure out how to apply it. But if you have someone who has that knowledge and expertise, they can help you to learn. So I didn't put coaching up here as a way to learn, but definitely coaching, counseling, consulting are things that can help you easily attain knowledge and applicable knowledge faster. But, and I know it's can seem daunting if you think about formal education. So if you think about, oh, I'm not learning if I'm not in class or I'm not enrolled in school, there are several free, easy ways to keep yourself learning and engaged. And of course, books are one of those things. Like I said, this 145 pages of content was easy to digest, and it has so much information packed into it that's just, like I said, easy to digest. But I like this quote from the book. I'll read from page 111. It says, when you take ownership of new knowledge and broadening your understanding of a topic, is what basically learning is. It involves thinking, but also engages your whole being by involving your senses, feelings, beliefs, values, intuition, and your willingness to grow. Learning keeps your brain and mind expanding and more engaged rather than just existing. So I want you to understand, if you are going to change, grow, be inspired, or get motivated, you're going to have to learn some new things, new skill sets, new information or knowledge to apply to your life. And it can be fun, entertaining, and easy. You'll see these 3 learning resources that I have posted on the bottom of this. I always do that. This graphic is TED Talks, podcasts, webinars. What you're doing right here, right now, is a form of learning. But TED Talks, they're 10-minute talks from experts that can allow you to gain information or at least have access to other information. TED Talks can be a great door to what's next. So you listen to that talk and then you go, oh, and then they can give you some resources and you can kind of drive down that path of getting more information. When it comes to TED Talks, podcasts, webinars, that information that's coming from the experts, that is the information that makes it easy for leaders to continuously feed their toolkit. And if you want to be a leader, you have to consistently work on yourself, prove yourself, etc. So the best leaders are learners, and the best learners are those who have influence and impact in their environments because they have knowledge that can be applicable to the conversations that they find themselves engaged in. I like number 2, travel as an easy learning resource. And I don't want you to think they have to be magnificent, fantastic trips. It can be things that are in your local area, finding something new to explore and to engage. This is my favorite way to teach my kids. Of course, we watch documentaries and we do all of those things. I take them to museums all the time. Matter of fact, Friday, March 18th, we're going to go to the Banksy exhibit in Charlotte to just see that and have some conversation about art and Banksy and whatever the case may be. But traveling, finding something that you can learn. Our spring breaks typically have an educational component to it. We'll go, like I said, to a museum or to an aquarium, and we'll read all the things. We might go on a nature hike or a journey, and just to find things that you haven't had exposure to. That can be local, that can be in a different state, that can be in a different country. Whatever your financial and time allows you to do, feel free to do it. But travel is a great way to learn and to expose, especially if you have kids. I think travel opens you up not only to more information, but also to diversity of living, diversity of culture and experiences. And so when you realize that people live differently from you, they experience life differently from you, and then some of those things you might bring back into your own life. That is a way for you to continue to evolve and to change. The third thing that I have on here is reading ebooks and audiobooks. If it's something about just the thought of sitting somewhere, being still, and reading does not go with your spirit, then how about putting something on audiobook? You don't also always have to use a paid resource like an Audible. There are always other options. Like you can go to your local library and check out CDs if your car still has a CD player. That's an easy way to do it. Only thing you need is a free library membership. I did that for a road trip for our kids. Now, it was a fiction book. I wasn't boring everybody with I wasn't boring everybody with history or biographies, but we learned we listened to a story, and it was 6 CDs, and we put them in, and we followed the mystery for on our trip to and our trip from. Now, while we were at our location, we didn't do that in the car. We listened to radio, but on those long hauls, we did that. Now, I know a lot of people who listen to audiobooks while they're driving to and from work, or they listen to podcasts. Free, easy to digest, entertaining, as well as educational. So definitely encourage you to read a little more, because that's going to help you to learn. And like I said, I love information. I can't have it all, but I love information. I'm an information hog, but I also like to share information. And I think part of why I continuously gather is so that I can have a little bit of information or a little bit of knowledge, resources to share with people, especially my clients. So in order to kickstart your learning, like where do I get started? Don't be overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed. Just focus on something that you are truly interested in. Find a topic that you're truly interested in. Maybe it's something that is aligned with your vision or your goals. So if you want to be a small business owner and you want to make t-shirts, then maybe you try to find some information on screen printing, or different screen printing techniques. Maybe you want, to find direct to garment information and listen or watch videos, YouTube, all of those helpful internet resources that can help you. Start there, and then maybe it'll open the door to something else, and then you go down that path. But you will always lose your way if it's something that you're not truly interested in. So if you said, okay, I want to go learn about the Roman Empire, but Roman Empire has no applicability to your life, to your world, then I'm pretty sure that maybe after your first book or your first documentary or your first whatever the case may be, you might be like, Well, we don't want you to be like, We want you to continue to go down the path. So find a topic that supports your vision, or find something that you're just truly interested in that you think can be applicable to you down the road. Remember to keep an open mind and a liberal view on new creative opportunities to help move you forward. All right, we are on to topic number 3, and that is gratitude. Gratitude. And so you see that this quote on here, I saw it in the book, and I was like, yes, I love it. You might see it again. Like I said, there are a lot of fantastic quotes in this book, but it says, when you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And that just spoke to my spirit, because I am always about, where is your mentality? Do you have an attitude or a mentality, mindset of lack? Do you have a mindset of abundance, a free-flowing will that all good things come to you, that you have access to everything that you need, that you are everything that you need, that there is nothing that you are lacking? When you understand that and understand how to apply that to your life, the world does open up. So sister, brother, whoever is out here listening, I want you to get that down into your spirit, that you are not lacking anything. Everything that you need is within you. And if you don't have that particular skill set, go back to the topic we just talked about, learning. Do you have the mentality to go figure out what you need? Find the resource. Because sometimes curiosity is all you need. Sometimes it's drive all you need, but it's always, always within you. So let's talk about gratitude as a practice. And I'm sure, I've heard a lot about gratitude in my last couple of years. But, gratitude is something that I think we just need to try to integrate into our lives, just like mindfulness. And I think that if you can be more mindful of everything, when we talked about mindfulness in our last episode, then gratitude easily comes with the mindfulness. I think they go hand in hand. So, from the book, it says people who regularly practice gratitude by taking the time to notice, that's the mindfulness, and reflect upon the things that they are thankful for, that's potentially journaling, experience an increasing amount of positive emotions, feel more alive, sleep better, and express more compassion and kindness. This right here is everything that I want myself to be and everything that I want my kids to do. I want them to feel more alive, have increased positive emotions, have great sleep, and be more compassionate and kind just to the world. I think that the world needs that, period. One of the interesting things in this book is that it was talking about the fact that humans are wired towards a negativity bias. So it is in our evolution, and I use air quotes for this because depending on what you believe, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but in our evolution, we were wired to have negative thoughts. Our negative experiences sit with us longer, affect us more deeply, and we process them deeply than we do joy. So if you have a negative experience, you can carry that and remember that for the longest amount of time, but those moments of great happiness or joy, you have a harder time recalling those details. So the evolutionary component of this is basically, let's take the saber-toothed tiger experience, right? Saber-toothed tiger is probably going to kill Mr. or Mrs. Caveman. And so when you have a impact, you have that fear impact. You have to be able to hold on to that so that you understand the next time that I walk out of this cave, there might be a saber-toothed tiger there and I have to do something to protect myself. It was about survival. They remember running from the saber-toothed tiger or potentially being, tracked, whatever the case may be. You hold on to that because it's a protective mechanism. And so we have that same train of thought, especially think about the people that make you the happiest and how it seems like the moments of happiness are more fleeting, but when they hurt you or when there's something that is a little more negative, you can remember that forever. And that's why that forgive and forget is so hard. People are always like, I can forgive you because I like you, but I'm not going to forget. That forget is a protective mechanism, and that is part of the negativity bias that is programmed for us as humans as a protection mechanism. They say only the strong survive. Sometimes fear or negativity helps you to survive. But gratitude, I'll give you a couple of creative ways to practice more gratitude. You see on the screen, writing a thank you letter. Now, I think this is very neat, especially in 2022, because we get so many emails, but I think it is just amazing to get something in the mail that someone has thought of you. I like to send cards at Christmas, not just the photo cards of my family to those that I care about, but sometimes just a letter that says, hey, I've been thinking about you. Thank you for whatever you have done for me this year. I do that occasionally because I think the handwritten part says I took a moment away from technology. It wasn't just easy, it was intentional. So we want to go, when someone does something out of intent instead of out of ease, it means more for you. So maybe you want to think about someone who has had a positive impact on your life. They've done something great for you, and you just want to write them a letter. Do it, send it, spread some joy into the world, and express why and how you are grateful for them. That act of gratitude not only can help you to hold on again to that positive feeling that you had, but also spread some of that to others. So the other thing is commit to a complaint-free day. Now I know it's so easy for us to, complain about something. Oh, the traffic, such and such cut me off. There were 65 people in front of me in the line in the grocery store. Why is gas $17? And of course, I'm exaggerating on all of it, but can you go a day without complaining? a day with giving compliments instead of complaints? And then in that one day, can you make it two? And then after you can master that 2 days, then maybe you go a week without complaining. And then it becomes habit. And we'll talk about habit in a future episode. But commit to one. Just try it for one day. And I want you to try it during the week, in a work day, when everything, of course, could go wrong. Not on the weekend, when you could potentially close yourself away, hide in the bed with a tub of popcorn. There's nothing to complain about there. But on a day where you know that you might face some challenges, can you face that with gratitude instead of complaints? So what are you thankful for? Of course, you've probably heard about gratitude jars or gratitude journals, etc. But think about the things that make you you, and those are things that you should be grateful for. The things that make you unique, your skills, your attitudes, your ability. Maybe it was your education, maybe it's your access, maybe it's your family, your support system. Definitely being grateful for a tribe is something that I am grateful for. Maybe it's a relationship that you lost that you reconnected with. Is that something that you're grateful for? So I'm sure if you took the time and maybe in your journal, maybe on a piece of paper, maybe you just want to sit and brainstorm in some silence and solitude, that you think about, what am I grateful for? This is something that I teach my kids. They want to complain about the food that hits the table, right? Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. Well, there are kids that don't have food in their pantry, that don't have a hot meal waiting on them, that don't have these things. They're not eating 3 meals a day plus snack, etc. So you have to be thankful for everything that comes through this door, because we could be in a completely different situation, and things change fast. So definitely practice gratitude, share gratitude, and hopefully start to encourage especially your little ones, to understand that they need to be grateful for it. I talked to you earlier about travel and about doing all those things. These are things that I did not do on a frequent basis as a child myself. So my kids, of course, are growing up in a way where this may be something that they expect. But I want them to know that this isn't necessarily normal. This isn't what mommy and daddy had exposure or access to. But this is what we want to do for you. So you need to be grateful for those things and be thankful. And it always warms my heart when I hear my baby say, my favorite thing or my best thing was spending time with my family. And it's like, yeah, I want our time to be time that you cherish and enjoy, because these days aren't always going to be the same. We're all going to grow older and we're all going to change. So making every moment count is definitely high on my to-do list. And making every moment spark some joy. I keep wanting to go this way, but I should be going this way. And joy is our last topic for today. And joy and happiness, I think I talked about this in the prior Living and Leading with Miss J. There are two different things. Happiness is more, can be a state of emotion, where it could be potentially, like I said, a little bit fleeting, right? I'm happy right now, but in 13 minutes when someone spills Kool-Aid all over my floor, am I still happy? Maybe not. But do I still have joy? Probably. And on the screen, you'll see joy is a feeling of let me find where I highlighted it. Joy is a joy is a feeling of confidence. That's what I was trying to say. Confidence, lightness, contentment, and hope. Creating the bliss in your life is an essential skill and habit to ensure that you experience a life with your heart full. So, when I think about joy, I think about the things that I do to not only take care of other people, but also things that I do to take care of myself. So that self-care brings me joy. Things that help me to stay balanced and sane are my moments of joy, periods of joy. And I don't want you to get confused. Joy, I don't want you to get confused. Self-care with selfishness. And interestingly enough, in our February episodes, I was doing topics with my husband, Mr. Snipes, and we were going to have a conversation about men and self-care. And we tried to do a little bit of research within his friend group, and that didn't necessarily connect. They were like, self-care, what do you mean? Like, what does self-care mean? And, a couple of jokes around that. But self-care is just about making sure that you get back to your center, of pouring into yourself instead of trying to pour out of an empty vessel. And those things can show up differently in everyone's life. So I'm not going to give you how to take care of yourself. I think that you need to make sure that you just do prioritize yourself, especially when you're feeling drained, right? Especially when your joy level is decreasing. Not necessarily happiness, but your joy. And I also think that you need to make time for you, because that's how you build everything else. You are the foundation for everything that you create, and therefore you have to take care of yourself. That's what number 1 is about, creating a daily ritual, creating some time for you to reconnect, recenter, whether that's to journal, whether it's to meditate, whether it's to just take a hot bath, turn off all of your devices and just disconnect. Maybe it's just a time where you get in front of your couch, get on your couch and in front of your TV and just not have to worry about what the world needs, but just take some time for you. I highlighted a quote here that says, wholehearted joy is sustained, conscious, elevated, vibrating energy that is harnessed when you understand what your recipe for it is. So this isn't about finding joy in someone else's formula. This is your formula. What makes you happy, right? The other thing that you see on the screen is maybe finding a hobby. What are the things that you like to do? I have 17 million things that I could possibly be doing in this exact moment. However, this brings me joy. This little 30, 45 minutes that I spend on Saturday mornings doesn't feel like a chore to me. It feels like, yeah, this is what you're born to do. Every day in my day-to-day FTJ, I don't get to train. I don't get to talk. I don't get to coach consistently because I have all of these other human resources functions. But this little period of time where it's just me and the camera and the microphone makes me happy. So that's why my Saturday mornings can consist of this time, because it is me being able to express me and share the knowledge. This is what brings me joy. The second thing that you see is creating an adventure list. Not only creating it, but doing it. And so I don't call it a bucket list because, sometimes you think, well, as long as I do it before I kick the bucket. I don't necessarily. I want you to enjoy your life completely the whole way through. Enjoy the journey. But creating an adventure list. So what are the things that I want to do? Where are the places that I want to go? What is the food that I want to try? Who do I need to go see that I haven't seen in years? What is a monument or something that I want to go visit and see and experience? Finding those things that will give you that boost of, aha, I did it. I made my way to Vegas, whatever the case may be. I've never been here. I've always wanted to. I've never eaten that, but I always wanted to. Or those things that are may be consistent. It may be the ritual of the travel. It might be, we go to, the Rocky Mountains. We go to a cabin for this week every year, and it's always something that I enjoy. Maybe that's what it is. But making yourself a adventure list, aka bucket list. But dream. Write down anything that comes your way. Get inspired by the things that you see on social media. You're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that was a possibility. Where is that? So get yourself in a space where you can get out there and live and enjoy. Break out of the routine of just working and living and working and living. find moments, periods that you can sustain where you are taking care of yourself, but you're also giving yourself that exposure. This adventure list ties back into learning, right? We talked about that as travel. It talked about potentially, it ties back into gratitude. I'm so grateful that I was able to go to wherever it may be. um, and just making sure that you add some variety into your life so that you can continue to just find happiness wherever it may be hiding in the world. So, those are my topics for today. And so, I'll give you a little secret. I am pre recording this, which is why I did not tell you, hey, pop into the comments, because I have a busy Saturday. And so, I'm also not going to pre record the bonus. What I will do is actually I'm going to have an extra bonus episode. So we're going to do 5 episodes instead of 4 for the month. So I will have one for the first week of April. And I'm going to give you some more content around that finishes out the book, but also some extra resources. So I hope that this is beneficial to you, and that hopefully you can tie these things together from episode 1, 2, 3 and next 4 and 5. If you want to have someone, an accountability partner, someone who is an unbiased third party to help you navigate as you try to redefine your life, that's what I am here for. That's who Miss J is. That's what the Illumin Group does. And my goal, of course, my passion is just to help you maximize your life and to get out of it what you want out of it. So my contact information is on this closing screen that's coming up. You can go to my business website, www.illumin.group. That's ILLUMINE.group, not .com. Or you can go to missj.com, and you see how to spell that up above me, Miss J. And that's where you can link to everything that I have going on all over the internet. So I hope that this worked out for you, that you got some good nuggets. Again, feel free to go grab the book. It's not proprietary. I'm just sharing with you some of the great things that I learned from it. And hit me up. I hope that your day is fantastic, that everything that you want is coming true. And I look forward to seeing you the next go around. Take care. Bye-bye.